Yes, Jets, and welcome back to another episode of The Jets Ward. I'm Ryan Ward, and I will be your host tonight, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I got a fun one for you guys in this episode, but first, if you have been here before, welcome back. I always love having you guys. If you are new here, welcome. Always enjoy having new people here, whether you are a Jets fan or a fan of another team. You are always welcome here on The Jets Ward. And in this episode, I'm going to get into a fun one with you guys. The NFL draft is going to be coming up in the next couple of months. And the NFL Combine is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. And the Jets need a lot of new players. We are losing a lot of guys to free agency. We might lose a lot of guys to cap casualties. And one of the positions that the Jets are going to be very limited at is linebacker. So the only one we'll really have on the roster is Quincy Williams and Zaire Barnes. And Quincy Williams is a stud. Zaire Barnes, not really. We'll have CJ Mosley, but I'm worried he's going to be a cap casualty. Chaz Surratt is a free agent, and Jamien Sherwood is a big free agent as well, and somebody who I am worried we are definitely going to lose, probably to the San Francisco 49ers or the Atlanta Falcons, where both of our former coaches, Jeff Ulbrich with the Falcons and Robert Saleh with the Niners, two people that Jamien Sherwood really enjoyed playing for. I can see him definitely going there and not returning to the Jets. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 7 linebackers in the upcoming NFL draft that I think could be perfect fits for the New York Jets, depending on when the Jets want to draft a linebacker. And the first guy I'm going to be talking to you guys about is Chris Paul Jr. He is the linebacker from Ole Miss. This guy is really, really interesting to me because he is a freak athlete. Very, very quick. He is 6'1", and he is 224 pounds. Someone who is pretty good size for a linebacker, but has the chance to improve that stature as well, which can be a very scary thing when it comes to Chris Paul Jr. because of how freakish of an athlete he really is. He is great when it comes to covering tight ends. He is great when covering running backs out of the backfield. His coverage skills are really, really good. And another thing that is a big positive, he's a good blitzer, especially when picking up the run blitzes. He is somebody who can get in the backfield, can sneak around bigger offensive linemen, and get in the backfield, whether he's tackling a running back or whether he's tackling the quarterback for a sack. Now, some of the positives. His speed is something amazing about him because of how fast he is. He can cover, like I said, can cover tight ends, can cover running backs as well. He is very good when it comes to coverage skills. He needs to get a little bit bigger, which is a little bit of a negative. And he's very instinctive as well, which is something that linebackers need to be. His instincts can take him across the field. He's a sideline-to-sideline player. You can put him on the outside. You can put him on the edge. You can put him on the Mike position as well. He can play all of those positions. I see him more as an outside linebacker, maybe a weak side outside linebacker because of the speed. He has a lot of upper body strength, but one negative is he doesn't have much lower body strength. So if a lineman does get onto him and block him, he can get taken for a ride by bigger offensive linemen. So that's something he will need to work on as well. Another thing, he's not the best tackler. He has a tendency to tackle high, and for bigger running backs or bigger tight ends who catch the ball and are running at him, you gotta tackle low because they'll just run you over. You need to get low, and that's one of the negatives about him. He tackles too high. Now, if he is in coverage, he is very quick to leave his man against scrambling quarterbacks. So if we go up against a Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen, especially in our division, if he sees him start to scramble, he will just go for him. He won't wait around. And that can be bad because Josh Allen's great at throwing on the run, and if he leaves his man too early, he'll leave that guy wide open, which we do not want on this defense. But overall, for pro comps, I see his ceiling as being a Quincy Williams. This kid can be that type of player. could sit for a year and learn in certain situations like pass rush or coverage situations. But I think overall he can get better and better as time goes on. His floor, though, is Miles Jack, somebody who has bounced around the league, has been on the Jaguars where he was drafted, he played for the Steelers, and it's somebody who hasn't had the best career, somebody who had a lot of talent coming out of college, but just never could utilize it in the NFL, which is sad because I really liked Miles Jack. But Chris Paul Jr., he's somebody who is projected to go in the third round. I think he can go in the late second round, especially if he tests out well at the combine. Like I said, this kid is a freak athlete with chances to improve. He's 6'1", which is a good size, only 224 pounds. He can build more muscle up, and if he keeps that speed and works on his tackling, he can be a stud for our Jets defense, which, with under Steve Wilkes and AG, we are going to blitz more and be more attack mode, which I think Chris Paul Jr. could be relish in and be very successful in, just like Quincy Williams, who I think is going to do really well for us this next year. The second guy I have for you is somebody who's projected really, really good in this draft. Might be projected by some scouts as the number one linebacker in this draft, and that is Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. This kid is 6'2", 245 pounds. Very good size for a linebacker. He is another freak athlete as well. Somebody who, for Georgia, was a stud on that defense. And he is somebody who is reliable. He is somebody who does not miss a ton of tackles. He is a young kid who can shine in this NFL league, and coming from Georgia, and Georgia does produce really good linebackers, so he's somebody to watch, especially at the combine, because I think he is another one who will test out very, very well. Now, positives: very good size for a linebacker. He has the perfect size. Like I said, he's 6'2" and 245 pounds. He's got a lot of muscle on him. He's been someone who has been doing this for a couple of years now and is very solid at his job. Now, he's a versatile defender as well, who has been on the edge. He's been an off-ball linebacker. He's been moved to the mic as well, but he's much better as an offside linebacker. And as an outside linebacker, he has the speed to blitz as well. He's a very solid blitzer as well, can get through tight holes and get to the quarterback. And he's good in the run game as well, as a run stuffer. He's somebody who is in attack mode every single play. And he's somebody who can be out there the whole time on defense and be somebody we can trust. Now, with this as well, he shows decent strength at the point of attack. He is very, very strong for a young kid, and somebody who will give defenses hell. Now, some of the negatives: he is inexperienced. He has not been playing linebacker for a very long time. Didn't make his first college start until this past season. So, the inexperience, he's somebody who can get better as well. I know the inexperience might worry some people, but like I said, this kid is projected to be a first round to early second round pick. Is he somebody who I would see at pick 7? Not really. There's a lot of other players that I see who can go ahead of him, but as a linebacker prospect, if he's there and the Jets decide to trade back, which I think they can do, and we get him at like pick 15, pick 16, I think that could be very, very solid for the Jets, and somebody who can boost up this defense, and somebody who can play in the middle as well, like a Jamie Sherwood type of player. Now, other things that I got for you. His ceiling. Somebody who started out a little rocky for Green Bay, Quay Walker. He is a reliable linebacker. Needs to keep his head on straight, but when he's out on the field, he makes plays. He is a stud, and I think Jalen Walker could be somebody like that. He doesn't seem like somebody who loses his temper all the time either. So if we can just get him to focus and stay on task and do his job, I think he can be somebody who is really good. Now, his floor, Isaiah Simmons, somebody who had so much talent. Was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, traded to the Giants, and he just couldn't really do what his draft stock was. He was a first-round draft pick, and he just could never really get it going. Still in the league, so he's still playing, but they've been moved in the league. The teams that have been playing have been moving into safety as well, which is not great, especially if you are a linebacker. But I could see Jalen Walker doing that because, like I said, he's an athletic freak. But he's looked at as being a late first-round pick, which is solid, but he is very inexperienced. So I think that could be something that is not great as well. But overall, in my opinion, he is a first-round talent, and I think he could be a big fit with this Jets defense. And if the Jets drafted him, not at 7, but in the later round, if we traded back in the first round and we traded for him, or drafted him, I would be happy. Depends on who's on the board there. If all my guys that I want are gone, and he's still there, I'd be very happy taking Jalen Walker. The third guy that I'm going to be talking about is Jihad Campbell. Now, if you have listened to Dom C is very, very high on this guy, and there's a lot to like. He is 6'3", 244 pounds, another big, strong linebacker. He is projected to go into the second round, but I honestly think he could go sooner. I think he could go, just like Jalen Walker, I think he can go in the late first round. He is somebody who is really reliable out there as well. Some of the positives: good size for a modern-day linebacker. He has the size to fit what we're looking for as a starting linebacker, a starting 3-down linebacker. He has pretty good speed and explosive acceleration to help his range against the run. He is a sideline-to-sideline player, and he's somebody who I think can be very solid. Now, some of the negatives: he does lack discipline in coverage. He is not the best cover linebacker. He does get out of his spots, especially in zone. So he could be utilized more as a blitzer or like a run stuffer, which I think would be utilized especially for him. And put him mainly Mike Backer, I think would be perfect for him. You can put him on the edge every now and again, but I think Mike Backer fits him much, much better. He's the linebacker, like I said, I forgot to tell you, he is a linebacker from Alabama, and another team that really produces solid linebackers. This kid and Jalen Walker could fight for the number 1 linebacker spot in this draft. Right now, Jalen Walker is projected to be number 1, but Jihad Campbell can definitely take that away from him. Now, my ceiling for him, Sean Merriman. Sean Merriman was a lightning rod as a linebacker. Very quick. He wasn't the best in coverage, but he could get to the quarterback no matter what. And he was a solid tackler. Jihad Campbell can be that. And if we get somebody like a Sean Merriman, I would love that. Because I know our defense is stacked with that linebacker. Him and Quincy Williams back there, oof, that could be amazing. 2 strong guys back there could be solid. Now, his floor, Devin Bush. Devin Bush is a solid linebacker. I don't want to take anything away from him. Had a couple good years in Pittsburgh, but hasn't lived up to his expectations coming out of college. Solid, can do a lot of different things, but does get beat a good amount, especially in coverage. Now, Jihad Campbell is the same thing. Like I said, one of his weaknesses is coverage. He does not cover tight ends or running backs well. So if he's out there, he's probably going to get burned a little bit, which is not something you want to see. As a blitzer, I think he could be amazing, but he needs to work on his pass coverage skills. But like I said, like Jalen Walker, if the Jets traded back for Jihad Campbell and all my guys were off the board, like Ted McMillan was gone, if Jackson Dart probably was gone. Jackson Dart, I think about later in the draft. If Shedeur Sanders was gone. If all these top guys, Mason Graham, who I think is a stud, and I don't see falling that far. If all these guys are gone and Jihad Campbell is there, I would take him. I think he's going to be a monster in this league. And the next guy that I'm going to be talking about is somebody who I think is going to shine when it comes to the NFL. He is Jack Kaiser, linebacker from Notre Dame. And the Notre Dame had a solid defense this year, led by Jack Kaiser. He was a team captain, which is something, if you want to change the culture for a team, if you want to get leadership, if you want to get people who are going to change everything about this team, Jack Kaiser is the guy. He is somebody that is well respected by his teammates and well respected by his coaches as well. And he's coming from Notre Dame, which has been a very, very prestigious school. And like I said, he is a team captain. He is 6'1", 227 pounds. Smaller frame for a linebacker, which is okay. He can build up more muscle. Some of the positives: solid instincts as a run defender, and key diagnose plays and beat offensive linemen to his spot. In other words, he is very solid when it comes to recognizing plays. If he sees something happening, his instincts will get him to the right place most times. As a linebacker, you need that. As a field general, especially if you're in the Mike position, you need somebody who is aware of everything going on. And Jack Kaiser can be that guy. Now, some negatives for him. Questionable awareness in coverage. Run game, he is solid. But when it comes to pass coverage, he's not the best pass coverer ever out there. He does miss assignments every now and again. Not the best when it comes to that. But he is pretty good overall as a linebacker. He's projected right now to go in the 4th round. He's not the best athlete, so I don't predict him to test well at the combine, which could cause him to slip. I predict him going in the 5th round. And if he's there in the 5th round, and the Jets have drafted D-tackle, tight end already, maybe a quarterback, receiver definitely, and he's there in the 5th round, I think he could be a steal and somebody who could be a leader in the locker room for years to come. Now, my pro comp to him is James Ferrier. If you remember him, he was a Jet once upon a time. Didn't really didn't do great things. He was good. Don't get me wrong. He was a solid player, and I loved him. But he did go to Pittsburgh, where he became much, much better in that defense, and where he's more well-known for. James Ferrier is my pro comp to him. I think he is somebody that could get more experience, get bigger, get stronger, work on the little things that he needs to do to get better in pass coverage. But he is someone who I think can stand out and dominate. Look at Blake Cashman when the Jets drafted him. Somebody who could not stay healthy. Somebody who was missing assignments. He'd be in there, make one good play, and then 5 plays in a row he'd mess up. Miss a tackle, not be in the right spot. And now Blake Cashman, as years have gone on, starting with Texans and now this year with the Minnesota Vikings, that guy is a solid linebacker, a monster out there, and has made play after play after play for that Minnesota Vikings team and for Houston as well when he was there. Jack Kaiser is somebody I think could do that. Now, his floor is Blake Cashman when he was with the Jets. And it's funny because, like I said, the past couple years, Blake Cashman has been solid. But it took him years to get to this point. Jack Kaiser, I'm worried that it might take him years to get to this point. I don't know if the Jets fans are that patient. I'll take that back. I know we're not as patient when it comes to players, especially right off the jump. But Jack Kaiser, I really see the positives in his game. He's coming from a great defensive program, and I think he could be a late 5th round steal, a day 3 steal, and somebody who would make any team happy, especially my Jets. The next guy that I'm going to be talking to you guys about is a linebacker from Texas A&M, Scooby Williams. He is 6'2", 230 pounds, another smaller frame guy. He is very, very instinctive as a player. He can get from place to place. He's a good blitzer as well. Has the instincts to get back there, stop the run, and stop the pass or get to the quarterback as well. He has a lot of strength when he gets that initial punch, but that strength does go away after a while, especially if he loses on his first moves to a lineman or a running back coming out of back or a tight end. If he doesn't beat you on the initial move, he struggles to have any other arsenal to get by you. Another thing is he seen more as a 4-3 Mike, a middle linebacker. And I don't know what type of defense the Jets are going to run. I think they're going to run on multiple fronts, so he could be solid, but I think he's more of a defensive scheme fit. So if you have the defensive scheme, I think Scooby Williams could be a very solid linebacker. If you don't, he might just be relegated to special teams, which is always important too. But I don't know if he's only a scheme fit. I need to see more on him. From what I've seen, his instincts are some of the best out of this linebacking core, and I really think that he could be solid. As of now, he's projected to go undrafted. If he tests out well at the combine and in his pro day, I think he could go late 7th round, mid 7th round. I don't think he's going to skyrocket to the 6th round, or I don't think he's going to skyrocket to the 5th round. He's a 7th round guy to me. If he does go undrafted, I'd hope the Jets go after him. I think he could be a solid player, more backup role and situational guy. But overall, I think he could be a really cool linebacker for this Jets team. The next guy that I'm going to go for, and someone I think Jets fans will really, really like as well, and I think a lot of teams are going to like him, this is Powers Echols, the linebacker out of North Carolina. He's somebody who I think can be a great linebacker in the NFL. He's projected to go in the 5th or 6th round. So, seen as a later round pick, but I think he's someone who can jump up boards based on his pro day and the combine if he's there. Problem is, he is a smaller linebacker. So he is 5'11 and 231 pounds. Small size, small stature. Small height for a linebacker in this league. You sort of want somebody to be the 6'2", 6'3", on the bigger side. But some of the things that he could benefit with teams is his coverage skills. He is I'm not going to say amazing. He is a good cover linebacker. He can cover tight ends. He can cover running backs. He can cover really, really well. If you need him to cover a receiver, one of the slower receivers and bigger, he can do it. He's not the best, but he can cover really, really well. Another thing, he's a hitter, man. He will lay a pop on you. That is one thing that a lot of his teammates and people he's played against said. That guy will run you over. He might be small, but he can pack a big punch, which is something that I really love. You want players to be physical, especially if you're going to go into the Steve Wilkes AG type of defense. You want aggressive. You want physical. You want people on your team that are going to go into the offense and just punch them in the mouth, which I think Scooby Williams could do. Now, where do I see him falling? I see him fall into the late 5th round. And the reason I see that is because of his smaller stature. I think he's going to test well at the combine, but I think a lot of teams are going to be worried about that 5'11 stature, 231 pounds. He can build more muscle, but I think that is going to be something that is going to worry a lot of teams. And if he's there in the late 5th round, early 6th round, I would take a flyer on him. Definitely would. I think he can be somebody who comes in, doesn't start day one, but somebody who can sit behind a Quincy Williams type or a more pro linebacker and learn a lot and get in spot starts or situational football, and somebody who later down the road I can see being a starting linebacker in this league. And this final linebacker that I'm going to be talking to you guys about is somebody who came to me late thanks to one of my subscribers. They commented that they wanted to see Demetrius Knight, linebacker out of South Carolina. And when I did my research on him, I liked what I saw. This kid is solid. He's a 6'1 linebacker, 246 pounds. Big guy. 6'1, smaller height. We would rather have him 6'2, 6'3. But he's got a lot of muscle on this guy. And he's somebody who is seen as a 3rd round pick. I can definitely see him jumping into the 2nd round. By the way, he's going to test out. He is somebody who is so strong. Somebody who doesn't miss tackles either. He is somebody who tackles low, will give you a nice pop. And somebody who has very thick build and good arm length on him as well. So when linebackers come up to block him, when linemen come up to block him, he has long enough arms to push those linemen arms away and get around him. He has nice bend around as well. I see him being more of a Mike backer who can jump outside as well, and somebody who I can see starting day one. Third round pick, I don't see him being in the third round. I can definitely see him jumping up to the second round because I think a lot more teams are going to be taking a look at him. And he had a solid college career as well. Somebody who is looked at as jumping up boards. And somebody who I wish I looked at more because his game tape is very, very fun and enjoyable to see. Something that I think a lot of Jets fans or NFL teams will like as well. But Demetrius Knight is my final linebacker that I was going to talk to you guys about. If you think I missed any linebackers, or if you think there's anybody, do you want to just skip this draft? Do you want to go right to free agency and find somebody there? You can do that. There are a lot of free agent linebackers that I think are going to be solid and might come to the Jets as well. But if you think I missed anybody on this linebackers list, make sure you let me know. Comment down below. And if you like what you saw today, like and subscribe. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. I always appreciate you guys supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. And I really enjoy doing this. So if you're enjoying watching it, that makes it all the better for me. Because I enjoy making content that you guys like. And with that being said, I'm at the end of the episode. And I appreciate you guys being here with me. And I will see you guys all in the next video of the Jets War. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys.